So starting out with a greater white-fronted goose that was noticed by Jared Fisher at Blue Mash the end of December. Always nice to see them. I thought this was a really pretty picture of a yellow-bellied sapsucker by Ann Midick, also at Blue Mash at the end of December as well. And we don't often get to see clearly American woodcocks because they're good at camouflage and being secretive. But Stephen Davies captured this nice picture in the beginning of January at Blue Mash as well. I thought this was a really awesome picture of a sharp-shinned hawk by Jared Fisher, excuse me, January 11th at Hughes Hollow. He had a number of pictures of this bird, and I just picked out one of them. Evelyn took this nice picture back at Blue Mash in January, on January 11th, of a juvenile bald eagle. Sorry. And Stephanie Rabinovitz took this picture of a juvenile peregrine falcon off Sugarland Road a few days ago, or a week ago. So, really nice picture. Then I took this video on a field trip last Sunday. There were dozens of cedar waxwings, and I captured this video of this pair, and I ran it by Gabriel, and he suggested that this was a courtship behavior, either between pair bonded ones, or more likely two trying to, or at least a male seeing if he can entice this female to be his partner. They've got a berry, and they're passing it back and forth. They hop away a bit, then come back, and then the one takes off with it. And I've read that it's usually I don't know if this is true or not, that it's usually the female that takes off with it and eats it, and that means that, okay, everything's good. Otherwise, I guess it hands it back to the male. I'm not sure, but anyhow, I thought that was kind of cool. So now I'm going to start a section on birds with a lot of white in them. Here's an eared grebe that was found by photographed by Mark Ross at Riley's Lake at the end of November. This was a distant snow goose that Roy Howard took a picture of at Violet's Lake also at the end of November. In the beginning of December, Max Wilson took this picture of a black-coated gull that was originally found by Dave Zaplick at Patton Turf Farm near White's Ferry. And then Jared Fisher took a picture of this Ross's gull December 21st at Homestead Farm.
Ross's goose.
Sorry, what?
Ross's goose. Goose.
I'm
Ross's
sorry,
goose.
Ross's goose. You're right. Sorry.
Yes. Alas, not a Ross's gull.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, that would have been better maybe. But yeah. How did I, anyhow, I thought I went through and got them all right, but obviously missed this one. So anyways, so all those past few birds were their natural colorations. Here's a pale female gadwall that's been hanging out at Gunner's Lake, and I saw it on January 2nd. It's been misidentified as leucistic or other things, but it's actually got what I think is the brown mutation, and I'll talk about that more in the Science Tidbit. The same day, I also saw this house sparrow at Gunner's Lake, and you can see patches of white feathers on it from this front view, and more on the back. And you can see that the presence of the patches is not symmetrical, it's asymmetrical. So this one has progressive graying mutation. It's not leucistic, it's not partial albinism, which does not exist. So anyhow, I'll talk more about that too. So that's my introduction to the science tidbits. So we're going to talk a little bit about coloration mutations, especially as they affect melanin deposition. So here's that same house sparrow on the left and a normal house sparrow on the right. So you can see that it shouldn't have all that white in it. And again, you can see that it's the bird on the left has the patches that are asymmetrically placed. And what happens with progressive graying, if you could follow this house sparrow over the course of its lifespan, you would see that it accumulates more and more white. So, for example, this chipping sparrow, which has progressive graying, probably is getting near the end of its lifespan. It's almost all white at this point, but still has some patches of dark colored feathers. And if I showed you other pictures of it, you'd see that they were asymmetrical as well. Here's one that's even more white. This is a white-throated sparrow found by Lynn Gregg. And you can see that the asterisk shows a asymmetric spot where there's still some dark feathers, and then there's some more behind that. This mutation does not affect other colored mutations or other colors, such as those from carotenoids, which you can see in the supraoral area. And here's a normal white-throated sparrow. You can see the loss of all the brown and black coloring. It's accumulated all these white feathers over time. So it's not leucism, because leucism doesn't progress, although we don't have pictures of these birds progressing over time. But leucism also, its white patches are symmetrical. So if it gets it in one place on the left, you'll see it in the same place on the right, unlike the birds I've just shown. And it's not albinism, because it would be all white except for the reds or yellow colors. The eyes would be pink and the feet would be pink. But you would have no black or brown areas left. There's no, as I mentioned before, there's no such thing as partial albinism. You either have it or you don't, totally. Here's another bird that was found by Nathan T. at Sycamore Landing Field. It's a Carolina chickadee that has the brown mutation. I went back later and I got more pictures of it. This is what I'm showing here. And you can see that the normally black cap and bib are brown. Here's a regular Carolina chickadee to compare it with. And what you'll notice is that the black colors, especially on the back, but also on his head and bib, have gone, leaving the brown pheomelanin behind. The eumelanin is the one that gives us the black and darker colors, and that's mostly faded or gone away. And that's what I think this female gadwall also has. If you look carefully, I mean, you can see it's not white. It's very pale. You can still see some of these scalloped feathers in the normal. You can see them up above. They've just faded in color. I put some asterisks on some of those scallops, and you can still see that the tanner pheomelanin is still around, and especially there and in the head as well. You know, if it was leucistic, then you would see pure white feathers, right? You wouldn't just be losing some of the color. So it's definitely not that or albinism. So here's an albino European goldfinch, and you can see that it's completely white except where some of the yellow or red colors or orange from the carotenoids is present. And for those of you who haven't seen a European goldfinch, here's one so you can compare the colors. You can see that the brown and the black are gone, leaving just the yellow and red or orange. Also, you can see the eye is pink or red, the beak is pink, and the feet are pink as well. So it's lost all the melanin colors that it had. I mean, it was born without those colors. So, and also, most pale birds that you'll see do not have leucism or albinism. Progressive graying is certainly the most common cause of white feathers in wild birds. So my suggestion, it's better to describe them. For example, it's a pale bird. It has patches of white feathers and where it has dark or it has pink eyes, etc. And you might want to try to get a picture because you might have a special bird. And this table will be available in the at this reference, but it's also going to be available at the YouTube channel where we will put this presentation. And then as a postscript, there are always carotenoids, porphyrins, pterins, structural components, et cetera, that give different colors that you could be investigating. This is just an example of an orange crowned warbler that Clive Harris found on the left, compared with a normal orange crowned warbler on the right. And you can see that in this one, there's a probable deficit in carotenoid deposition. All the yellow through any orange, that's all gone, just leaving behind the melanin colors, the grays and the browns.